Hey Davey, how you doing? Did you get your appointment yet? Hey Brandon, how you doing? How's it going? Hey Reggie. Yeah, they're not doing too hot. Hey Deanna, how you doing? Tell them to call it in, Davey. Yeah, I know it. Yeah, I think it really helped you out a lot. Yeah, it definitely is, Jason. Yeah, it sure is. I had some people from the hotel I stay at down there call and ask me if I could find any of the supplies they can't find in Detroit up here, but we're out of it as well. Believe it or not, I'm thinking of making a trip down there. Probably end up being to my own demise. Yeah, me too. I just uploaded some ones I'd done before. No, although I don't really know Tracy. I'm glad you said that because I can make a phone call today on somebody that can get a hold of her. I agree, Zach. Did you see that stupid Navy commander? Yeah, I thought about doing that. Yeah, I'm just not sure how I would hand out the stuff. Yeah, the cops are everywhere. Yeah, big time. I think he's a moron, incompetent idiot. I mean, if there's any silver lining, we're really getting a chance to see who's incompetent in government at all levels. Hey, Oki, how you doing? Yeah, everywhere is low on supplies. They don't have them down there. Yeah, that's what I think I do. Yeah. It's the neighbors. Oh, that's cool, Jason. No, it's the neighbor's car. No, I know it, Davey. Yeah. Well, you can send it to my PO box if you want. PO Box 41, West Branch, Michigan 48661. She listed her Cash App the other day. Yeah, yep, Brandon, yep. It's raining down there now. I'm a couple hundred miles from there, Davey. It's PO Box 41. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's already been warm down there though. No, that's not the real issue. The issue is no supplies. I mean, it's warm everywhere where people have caught it and not caught it. Yeah, I know the states, yep, they are. At first, they encourage people to go to the parks. Yeah, you're welcome, Brandon. Well, I'm gonna sign off here. I just wanted to come on and say hello. Hey, Zach. Isn't that crazy, Zach? I mean, I'm not a Michigan governor fan, but I think she's done an excellent job. The only thing that in the back of my mind, I got a little problem with, not a lot, and that is I don't understand leaving these liquor stores open because you can buy liquor at Walmart and every place else it is. It just seems a little off. I don't know how she is. I don't talk to her. No, I agree, Davey. I mean, if minus a crystal ball, it's hindsight's 2020, and you sure are getting a glimpse of what they should have done. You can get liquor at all the stores that are staying open, though. You don't need to go to a liquor store. That many, Richie. Wow. Yeah, he's done an excellent job, hasn't he? Yeah, I haven't lived with my wife in 22 years. Hey, go look. How you doing? Yeah, with all these things, like I've sent some money to some people down there because I know they're flat broke and they need it. But it's the same old deal. I guess that's how parents enable kids. I mean, when you're dealing with this down there, I mean, first of all it ever was me being interested in somebody that ends up down there and getting their interview. That's it. I never went down there saying I was going to help somebody or turn things around. If I could, I would. But when you have, a handful of universities and colleges within driving distance, and they haven't been able to do anything, not to count rehab, what the hell am I going to do? I mean, all I can do is be a good guy and try and help them if I can, but it's so limited. And it seems like no matter what I do, it's like I should have done that, I should have done this. Well, hey, you know what? The whole intention was to just get an interview. That's it. It was never to turn their life around and take them to rehab, although I would do it if I was asked. So, whenever I'm sending money down there, I know that it's not always probably the best thing to do, but I still think it's better overall than not sending anything at all. These people are absolutely screwed down there. You can argue that, yeah, well, it's their own fault. They're consenting adults. That's why they're there. I know. But it almost seems like when you get in conversations with people that don't understand the perils of depression and addiction, that all it turns into is an argument because they're just so goddamn dumb. I mean, you can't reason with stupid. So when people come on there and think that, well, yeah, they're on heroin, I'm not on heroin. I've always been a hard worker, worked through jobs. Yeah, I get it. You know what? But save that conversation for someplace else. I mean, there are people that just aren't capable without help of getting their own life on track. And it's passing judgment. Yeah, but long-term help is like, look, man, I mean, nothing's long-term when you're down on Michigan Avenue. I mean, there's lots of reasons they get there. Read a book on heroin addiction, and then you'll know why people didn't take me up on it. I mean, are you suggesting that it's just a bad decision on their part to not take advantage of it? I mean, the thought process is muffled by drug use. Yeah, but are you considering the thought process separate from the drug addiction? Yeah, that's true. Who are you talking about, Richie? Jeannie? Yeah, I was surprised too. It was. I mean, if I had to throw a wild guess out there, which isn't worth shit, uh, it could have been the son contacting her. Yeah. Oh yeah, Jeannie. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, for what I know, and it's not much, there were circumstances that got them there to begin with. I mean, I've talked about it before. No one is in the eighth grade and raises their hand and says, "Hey, yeah, I want to be a drug addicted sex worker on Michigan Avenue when I get in my 20s and 30s, lose my children, and have every possible disease known to man, and probably die by the time I'm 40." So, with that in mind, it's not rational to begin with. Oh, did she? Oh, good for her. Yeah, that's what I think, Davey. Yeah. They're not in their right state of mind. And, you know, if you're a drug addict, you need money for drugs. And getting money from drugs isn't by going on and doing an interview and saying that I'm never going to rehab. So, I mean, that's kind of always in the back burner. They say what they have to say to keep on good terms. I mean, but so what are you supposed to do? Just not go down there, not interview anybody? I mean, the money that I give to them and it's handed out to them, by and large, is chump change. No one's overdosing and turning into a long-term drug addict because anything I did or anything anybody sent. And anybody thinks otherwise is stupid, ignorant. Yeah, they just don't get it. That's the biggest issue I find on YouTube. There's just so many morons that don't know what are going on, that don't understand it, that are self-centered, that came from better and different upbringings. Yeah, that's why I'm kind of up in the air on that, because, you know, I want to get the most bang for my buck. And I would like to give people that were interested some time to send things. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. And I mean, there's going to be a number of them that are never going to get out of there. I mean, it's, you know, it's such a world apart from like going down there, getting an interview, uploading it, and then having people that don't have the faintest idea what they're talking about comment on it. It's so super frustrating sometimes. I mean, I just re-uploaded a video where some people went down there and shot Marguerite with a paintball gun. And I couldn't make it other than light off fireworks when people click on these videos. I've said it all along. I thought it was obvious, but so much for being subtle. Any interviews where you see the people in the interview, it's a re-upload. Now, today I re-uploaded 3 interviews that I've done before. And the reason I did that is because there's some people that I get new people joining all the time that don't know how to search the playlist and go back in the old video. So if you see a video that you've seen before, just delete the notice, you know, and don't watch it. But today I put the time, the date, and I even put re-upload in the title because I'm not trying to get people to click again on a video they've already seen. I could give 2 shits about clicks, thumbs up, or subscribers. Not once have I ever suggested anybody do that. And honestly, I mean, I get shitty emails in the morning about how they get up in the morning and I'm sending too many videos. I can understand that's a legitimate complaint, but just don't get notices when I send new videos. And when you're having a good day and you're caught up and you want to look to see if I re-uploaded something, go check them out. I mean, I'm not trying to piss people off. It's just that's the way I do it when I get back. I upload everything I have. Even when I'm in Detroit, I don't try and hold off the best interviews in between airplanes taking off and landing. So that's just the way it is. I mean, these people bitch about everything. Yeah. Yeah, no, I know, Davey, but you'll find out if you ever have a channel. I mean, you'll find out the crap you get. Yeah, I know people down there, if they ever caught them doing that to Marguerite, you'd see some big time vigilanteism. You know, that's something that always kind of I felt bad about. Take Del Rey before, you know, Detroit seemed like it was going to get better. Here you're down there, you got a tarp on the roof, you're squatting because that's the only place you can live. You have no heat, no electricity. You're burning candles or whatever else you're doing there. And some kids from the suburbs, middle or upper middle class, come down there and paint all the houses in your neighborhood while you're sleeping. I think I would just go absolutely batshit crazy if I caught somebody doing that if I was living down there. the right thing to do is to call the police, but they don't exactly show up on time. I just think it's super demeaning and insulting and like really bad. Whether they can separate, I don't think you can separate it now. I think you may be able to separate that with, I mean, I don't even want to say that. I don't think you can separate it. It influences everything, which is why they do it. You don't grow 6 inches taller when you do heroin. It's the way you make you feel. So as long as people are active drug addicts, and I'm considering coffee, alcohol, nicotine, it influences your behavior. And until you get away from it, you don't really know what's what. Hey Heather, how you doing? Yeah, I don't, Dave. You never had any addiction problems, have you? No, I can only say this, Richie. Anybody I ever know that was caught, I'm not saying that everybody isn't from Detroit, but by and large, anybody I ever knew of that was caught or read about in the paper was from the suburbs. I didn't learn this till way down the road, but there is a distinct difference between taggers and graffiti artists and gangs. I mean, I thought either you sprayed paint on a building, you didn't. And once you figure that out, you can tell the difference. So you'll know who's from Detroit, most likely, that's doing some of that graffiti. But it's pretty obvious from the people that are not. Or the Grosse Points, Richie. Yeah, if you Google, like, there were some young girls from Grosse Point, which is upper middle class. They were down spray painting buildings downtown. Yeah, yeah, I think it's almost non-existent, Zach. What I found sometimes is when the feds decide to crack down on a big heroin ring, they will come up with gang charges because there's a whole slew of charges that you can charge people with when it's gang activity. That's what they charged Insane Clown Posse with, which I think was bullshit. But it isn't traditional gang activity like you would see in Miami or LA. No, basically non-existent, chump change. Yeah, no, it's not at all. Nope. Yeah, I mean the feds come in sometime. If you listen to the one interview that I had with Ricky Bobby, the feds will come in and eliminate gangs when they determine a certain amount of crime is going on for too long and at what level. Trump threatened to do that with Detroit this spring. It is, Brandon. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Well, yeah, the independent contractor. Well, I wouldn't want to be one if I got a decent paycheck because then you got to pay both sides of the Social Security tax. Companies want you to be an independent contractor, so you can pay the full tilt, and then they want you as a subcontractor to get insurance, so they don't need to get that either. Yeah, Davey, you're right. That's exactly right. Yep. Oh, okay, on the street. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'd like to. Are people actually in Cobo Hall now, Zach? Are people in there? I mean, are they lined up like thing? Oh, interesting. Huh? Yeah, that's it, Davey. Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. No, you don't have to answer any questions you don't want to, Davey. Just don't answer them. Yeah, I noticed when I went up to the UP, there were like, the turnarounds on the expressway. There are like 5 cop cars lined up different ways, state police officers. I don't know what they're doing out there. I mean, maybe just writing speeding tickets. Yeah, Davey, I mean, if you were sitting across the table from Brandon, there may not be anything to this that would get you upset. That happens a lot of times. Let me give you a perfect example. Uh, we had a chat the other night, and as you guys know, May is transgender, right? I don't care one way or the other. It doesn't bother me. What people do is their own business. So Kate was talking about asking question about this transgender. Did May like girls and blah blah blah? And I suggested to Kate maybe I ought to get some surgery done. Just joking. Well, I could tell it pissed her off, and she logged off about 5 minutes later and never came back on. And when I said that, if she was sitting across from me, we would have laughed and joked, and she would have blown it off. But a lot of times, and everybody knows this, that in the written word, the nuances aren't there. So you can't tell if somebody's being serious, nosy, or helpful. And that's a perfect example. It happens a lot during chats and emails, is that things are taken the wrong way. I don't think that Brandon was trying to piss you off, but you perceived it that way. Yeah, I'm seriously considering it. Yeah, I don't know when, only because I would just drop things off. I'm not going to be interviewing people and stuff, but I know what's going on down there. And even if it was cases of chili or something. No, I thought so too, Brandon. Yeah. Okay. No, that's okay, Danny. That's all right. Yeah, you can't tell when people are stuff that happens all the time in chats and emails. Yeah, K34. Did you catch that the other night, Reggie? Yeah, that's it, Mark. That's exactly it. They can't. No, I fit the exception. I'll be glad to show it to them in the governor's order. If they want to charge me with it, they can. But it'd be a big waste of time. I meet the exception. I don't have any people contact, within the 6 foot thing when I'm doing that. Yeah, you see what I mean, Richard? Yeah, she had talked about meeting me out in Las Vegas and one time, and maybe I do that. I'm not saying that I was going to. I mean, it's a possibility. You never know. Just meet a friend out there, go out there for a couple days or two. But I could tell that she took that the wrong way. Like, I don't know what she was thinking, but whatever it wasn't positive. And I think it pissed her off, hurt her feelings, wondered why I'd say something like that. I could have said it to anybody. I mean, I could have said it to Davey or Oki. It just so happened in the midst of a conversation on a chat. I suggested she change her game a little bit, and she took it the wrong way. But those are the risks you take on a chat or and she heard me. I didn't type that, so you would have, the nuances weren't lost because it was as if she was sitting across from me, but I could tell that happened. There was another lady on here. You guys remember back in the spring? She lived out in Texas, and she was pretty friendly and blah blah blah. There were a bunch of guys on here one night, and she had mentioned that she was never was married. She was engaged. Her fiance had a heart attack. Later on in the conversation, when the guys were talking, somebody else around her age said something about dating, what have you, and there was a comment made about, well, basically, if you're 50 years old and single, you could forget it about getting married anymore, that the criteria had changed so much. And that was the end of her. She later came back a couple months later, but people are very sensitive sometimes about certain issues, and when you're not in front of them, and I think, and I'm probably guilty of this too, I probably make comments that maybe I wouldn't make if somebody was in front of me. I mean, it's just off the cuff stuff when 30 people are talking at the same time. No, yeah, you're right, man. You're right about that. Yeah, that's exactly it. It's how it's perceived. That's exactly right. Yeah, a perfect example was the other night. Yeah, definitely did. And I'm an old guy now. I tell people all the time, I'm not interested in really dating. I'm not, and not that a bunch of women are interested in dating me, but from time to time, some do get a hold of me and want to get together, and I never do it. And when I have, it's uh, been to like, hey, here's a camera I don't use anymore, or hope your day goes well. If you need some tips on this kind of lens, let me know. And it's backfired on me a couple of times. And the incidents when it did, they were people that I didn't have any interest in at all. Zero. And they still caused me all sorts of bullshit down the road on YouTube, whatever they could. So, first of all, I'm not interested in it anyway. So on top of it, I don't want to make the double move of causing myself problems needlessly. But it was pretty obvious that she didn't think that was a very nice comment to make. And, I've had problems with people on chats before. I don't really think I should apologize for things that I didn't mean the wrong way. If someone's an adult and they're super sensitive, that's not my fault. I know when I could be rude to somebody, and I would, believe me, be the first person to apologize for it. But for these people that, you got to wear kid gloves around, I just assume they went someplace else and chatted if they're going to be that way. I mean, this is an adult chat board, Yeah, Brandon, I agree with you. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of time we were joking around. That's exactly it. But you're right, Mari. It's the perception of the whole thing. I mean, if I said to Oki, I said, "Hey, Oki, I know you're a happily married woman, but maybe if you got a big penis up put on, your life would be enhanced, and you and your husband could really live out the rest of your life in a new kind of way." I think Oki would laugh. Well, she didn't laugh. So, and I wasn't even that strong. I was just kidding. I was just kidding. Like, well, like a joke about being bisexual, you automatically increase your odds 100% if you're out dating, something like that. But I don't know. I'm not going to beat a dead horse about it, but it certainly isn't the first time that it's happened. Yeah, I think so, Brandon. Yeah, that's exactly it. And there were a lot of people, there are people on the chats that get together and hook up and, uh, get to see each other outside the chat. That's not my business. Good for them. I mean, I hope you have every fantasy you ever dreamed of the rest of your life, and people that you meet through the chat. You don't need to tell me about it. Good for you. I mean, that's a hell of a bonus for a YouTube chat. But with me, I'm just, I know better. I don't want anything from anybody, which has allowed me to not have to turn into a YouTube whore with thumbs up, subscribe, share, or like. I just want to shoot myself even thinking of that. Oh, wow, Richie. Oh, yeah, there's plenty of people that don't like me. I mean, somebody mentioned the other night that I think it was you, Davey, that I'm a strong personality. Now, what do you mean by that? I mean, what do you mean by a strong personality? Yeah, I mean, so far I've been able to. I'm not saying that I'm not, it's not possible. I couldn't whore myself out down the road for the right carrot. But, for this chump change and just having fun, I'd rather go the honest route. What makes you think that I'm a strong personality? And that's something, and Oki, you've been around for a while, and that is that, me here talking to people on a chat and talking about, it's the perception that I'm like doing something really good when I go down there. I'm not. Believe me, I'll take credit when I do something that's really meaningful. But anybody thinks that I've really improved anyone's lives down there by simply handing out cash, gifts, and paying them $10 for an interview is crazy. I get an interview, it's interesting to me. That's the end of it. If somebody is on the side of the road with a flat tire, I'll help them fix it. But I don't think you should have a parade for me. So my point here is when some of these older women that seem to be lonely get on these chats, this is all the good part of me. I sign on when I'm in a good mood. I sign off when I'm not. So it's not a real depiction of me as a person most of the time. Oh, did you? Oh, sorry about that, Brandon. Yeah, I mean, there's two sides to that. I mean, I can remember my dad telling me when I was about 15. He said, you're going to have real problems if you're working for somebody. I suggest you consider self-employment. And that's kind of been true. I mean, I thought that was good advice. I mean, I think I would have been, I've been self-employed my whole life. I think I would have been anyway. But let me tell you, I can give you all sorts of examples where I had taken good clients. I'm talking about people that sent me tons of business. And I did with them the same thing that I do on the chat. It's like, hey, look, this isn't the end of the world. This could be all on me. But I really think you'd be better off doing work with somebody else. I'm just getting to the point now where I see the phone ring, to hear the phone ring, and I see it's you and I don't want to pick it up. And that's not one of the benefits of being self-employed. I'm supposed to enjoy and be motivated who I work for. And once that motivation goes down the tubes, we might as well call it quits. And I've done that with everything in my life, relationships, clients, YouTube people, you name it. It's just my personality. I'd love to be a guy that didn't have any enemies and was loved by all, but it's just not in the cards. It's not happening. And if anything, I would think a fault would be I can cut someone off in a heartbeat. It doesn't bother me at all. I've been that way my whole life. Yeah, that's why. I mean, I was on the Humane Society board. I lasted about a month and a half on that. I was on that church across from Tiger Stadium's board. I lasted about a month on there. I just can't stand the bullshit. I could never be a politician. And there's an argument for the really intelligent people know what it takes to get to the top, and they learn to check their emotions along the way. And you'd have a pretty good case for that. I've never really learned to do that. I basically spell it out, and that's the way it is. And I'll probably live like maybe 15 or 20 more years, maybe. And I plan to live the rest of my days out just fucking around on YouTube, taking photos, and that's it. People ask me if I have a problem with authority. I can see how you would think that, but I would say no. What I have a problem with is when authority, like that cop, pulls me over for nothing. I have a problem with that. I have a problem where if there's an incident and the police are called and a cop talks down to me, I got a problem with that. I have a problem with people being rude and not having any tact. And I mean, if you just saw it on the surface and I never had a chance to explain it away, you may say, well, that guy has a problem with authority. I have a problem with inappropriate authority. And I will admit that if somebody talks down to me, it's a problem. If you want to have a civil conversation and we can iron things out, that's fine. But this phony tough guy, you're better than me, just isn't going to work. And I can tend to be a not so nice guy. I have had problems in certain things. I've had great college instructors and I've had terrible ones. I had problems taking flying lessons because I just, I just can't deal with people that think they're better, or teaching is an art, There's lots of cops that I've crossed paths with and things were great, and there's been a few that they have been not so great. But I don't think it was authority, because I would have had a problem with law enforcement in general, and I didn't. So I can understand why you would think that way. But I would say no, honestly. I would say that I don't, but I can understand why you would feel that way. I'm 64. Yeah, I have been a private detective my whole adult life. I still have a license, but I really don't do it. I'm burned out being a private detective, man. I'll tell you, it's a high burnout rate. Yeah, you know how it is, Davey. Yeah. I mean, that's a tough job. You're going around writing tickets like you should and ruining everybody's day. And people will just, aren't happy when they get a ticket. Yeah, no, yeah, you never know. That's exactly it. You really don't know. An old lady told me a long time ago when I was a kid, she said, you really don't know anybody until you lived with them. And that's kind of true. And on YouTube and these chats, you're going to find there's certain personalities that come out. If I take like the videos I uploaded today, there's going to be 20 emails about why am I doing that? There'll be another 20 on why am I taking advantage of the poor? There'll be 50 on good job, I hope they make it. It just runs the gamut. But basically, you could take a pie and fit the different wedges on typical responses to videos. And it basically, they fall into place through the course of a day or a week or a year or whatever. I mean, I joke all the time about if I wanted to just make money, I wouldn't do anything else but drive around looking for blue-eyed, blonde-haired, white, addicted female sex workers. That's what sells on YouTube. Hey, Frederick, how you doing? Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'd rather not get a ticket too, but I'm not going to stand on my head. Yeah. Oh, good for you, Lynn. Yeah, no, that's the thing. And people like to go to work and at the end of the day feel like they've accomplished something good. Now, you could argue that a guy that went out and wrote 100 tickets, if they were all legitimate tickets, he did something good, but I bet you he's not going to feel good about it. It's hard. It'll get to you if 50 of those 100 people told you were a big asshole as you were walking back to your patrol car. I don't know, Thomas. I really don't know. It's the communication with people down there is slim pickings. I don't know. Yeah, up there where you live, Mario, that's a big speed trap. That's like the easy place. That's I know an attorney that got a drunk driving ticket up there coming out of the casino. I mean that area is hard enough to drive in on a dark, rainy night when you're sober. I mean the street lights aren't shit. It's super dark. The water's right next to the highway. Hey, Mr. Tim, how you doing? Oh, they don't? Oh, that's cool. Speed limits are low there, so not a lot happens, you know. Oh, Ann Arbor's a big speed trap city too. Yep. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you can see that sometimes in cops. That's the way I look at it, yeah. But if they didn't watch, they'd have nothing to bitch about. So I think that's why they don't watch. No, that's pretty it, Mr. Timmy. That's pretty much it, you know. Yeah, yeah. I mean, overall, I mean, it's fun, or I wouldn't do it. You know what I mean? All right, Murray, do a good job today. Get Employee of the Month. Yeah, yeah. I mean, there are plenty of crazies out there. You know, and it's one thing. You know, now with YouTube, now you get like crazy emails from like all over the world, particularly Mexico. I've been getting a lot. That one kook that goes around spreading those serial killer rumors about me, she's always going on putting this bullshit on Reddit. These idiots just believe it hook, line, and sinker without checking anything. Yeah, probably too, Davey. Oh, a pink supermoon. God damn, really? Yeah, you know, it's cloudy here today. I hope it clears up. Let me look at my phone now. I'll go out and photograph that if it is. Yeah, that'd be great. Thanks for bringing that up. You know, there have been times where I've really been into the moon, and I haven't been in a while, taking photos and stuff like that. Let me look at the weather here. Cloudy. Yeah, I'm screwed. It's going to be rainy all the way up till midnight, partly cloudy. I wonder what I'll have to check and see when the moon comes up tonight. Maybe I can catch it later on. You know, as you know, if you like that stuff, uh, it's not that big a deal if you don't catch it coming up in the horizon. It just looks like any other moon when it's at 12 o'clock. Oh, Jeannie, yeah, I'm glad for her. Hope it works. I mean, I've learned. Oh, okay, then I'll be able to catch that up, Richard. Yeah, good. Yeah, I'll check that out then. Thank you. I'll set my alarm for that. Yeah, I've learned. I mean, I think because my personality anyway, I hope the best for them. I hope they make it. But if they don't, I'm not going to let it bother me. I'm not going to say I'm not going to let it bother me. It doesn't bother me. I think I got the best of both worlds with trying to help them out. I'm all in, do what I can. But if it doesn't work out, it's not my problem. I really think that way. I mean, you know, we've talked about this over and over, like Marguerite. I don't think Marguerite's going to get any better. I mean, at that stage of the game, I mean, there is a point of no return, and people never want to seem to accept it. You know, if you're Jamie, maybe you got a shot at whatever you consider happiness. That's another problem too. It's like everybody thinks, God, I really hope they get out of there. Get out of there and do what? Not everybody wants to be the soccer mom and have a happy husband and two twin blonde, blue-eyed boys. Some people don't want much. Oh, no kidding, Davey. Wow. Yeah, I don't know if you can see Venus now or not. I would think you could not. Yeah, and again, Davey, it's like, you know, you're an outsider on YouTube that sees a struggling old drug addicted woman, but you'd have an entirely different opinion about Marguerite if she was your mother and responsible for bringing you up and rearing you as a child. I mean, the relationships I have with these people are different than the ones they have with their family. I get that. So when I'm giving them $10 or $20 for something, their children want to crack them over the head with a Louisville Slugger. They don't get why anybody would give someone that was that inept of a parent anything, let alone cash for drugs. I would agree with that, Richie. Yeah. Oh wow, baby. Yeah, Marguerite, pacemaker and all. But somebody made a comment on the chat about a week or so ago that said they saw her and she had a hard time walking. And I think that's the COPD. I mean, if you know about COPD, basically you essentially slowly suffocate. I mean, this sounds crazy, but you know, I've seen cancer patients smoking outside the cancer ward. If you're 75 years old and you've got lung cancer, the doctor and the nurse and the medical care professionals, they're not going to say, I think it's a good idea to quit smoking. If you've got fourth stage lung cancer, I got to say, I don't know that I'd quit if I was a smoker. I mean, why? You got like 6 months, a year to live. Is that going to be any appreciable quality? I say no. These are the things that are hard to answer. Hey, Don, how you doing? Yeah, COPD is horrible. I have a sister that has it, 80 years old. She catches this, and it's lights out, I guarantee you. One thing that I found, and this is for medical professionals as well, I wish Mari was still on here because I could ask her about it. It's just like when you get a typical medical doctor, family practitioner, they're really weak on nutrition. And I find the same thing when it comes into lung capacity. The average physician doesn't really know much about lung capacity unless he's a pulmonologist as they age. It's unbelievable how much lung capacity you use as you age. And I'm talking about not breathing in chemicals nor being a smoker. Good, Dylan, thanks. Yeah, me too, Oki. Yeah. One case of bronchitis and pneumonia and be lights out. Yeah, Brandon, yep. Yeah, I mean, this COPD, I mean, it's one, you could be 80 years old and never have smoked, and you got enough issues with lung capacity anyway if you get pneumonia. Now you throw on COPD on top of that, and now on top of that, this virus. Yeah, basically it's lights out if you get it. Hey, Paul, how you doing? How's it going? That's logical to me, Lynn. That makes sense. Yeah, thank you, Brandon. I appreciate it. How old are you, Brandon? Yeah, hindsight. Yeah, it's not good for anything. Well, I shouldn't say it isn't good for anything. I think it helps gives you another iron in the fire for the future. It's just like history. I mean, things change, but it can help you make a better, more informed decision. Daisy's sitting out in the van. She likes sitting in the van even if I'm not going anywhere. Yeah, the needles are small to now, like 22 gauge, Len. You wouldn't even hardly feel it going in. Oh, Larry, that's interesting. You know, it's funny you mentioned that. I was going to look that up the other night. Huh. Yeah, that's right, Patricia. I'd agree with that. Yep. We're supposed to get a thunderstorm, maybe. I hope we do. Oh my God, really, Larry? Yes, you bring up convalescent homes. My dad lived in one for about the last 13 years of his life. And my mother-in-law, she was 96. You know, she's been hoping she was going to die for the last 5 or 6 years. There's a point where you live too long, and I sure as hell hope that doesn't happen to me. I was reading an article in a flying magazine about a year ago, and they said the guy was 86 years old. It was 3 in the morning, and he flew into a thunderstorm south of Indianapolis, someplace, and pulled the wings off a Cessna 210. And at first I thought, oh God, what a shame, you know. And then when I looked at his CV, all the experience he had as a pilot, I couldn't help but think if he did it on purpose. And I thought, God, you know, if I had something, a terminal disease, going up to 16,000 feet with a oxygen mask on and trying to make it to Florida would seem a hell of a lot more exciting than being in an old folks home and just slowly dying. And in a way, it was kind of hats off to this guy. He went out in his own terms. But until you're looking down that barrel of the old Grim Reaper, you don't really know what you're going to do. She's sitting out in the van. She likes sitting out there even if we don't go anywhere. Yeah, I think people knew about it, Lee. I don't think I created any more awareness. I mean, people think that. I mean, you think it, but who in the hell doesn't know about drug addicted sex workers in big cities? I mean, who doesn't know about that already? You know, I don't really think that I've done anything. I don't think I've done anything bad. And maybe it's nice that they can chat with someone that doesn't want to take anything from them or want anything from them. But it isn't. I wouldn't really call it anything good. Yeah, somebody, I didn't watch it, but I saw a YouTube recommendation and somebody took a video walking through the University of Michigan's campus and nobody was on it. Yeah, but when it comes down to it, Rich, you never know if you could do it. Oh, okay, Damien. Oh, wow, Larry. Oh, okay. Yeah, you think that, Lynn, but I'm telling you, you never really know until it comes down to it. It's subtle. They don't come out with a bunch of white jacket. You know, they sell it to you. And before you know it, you're sitting in there on your first night of an old folks home, and you see a plant there, and a nurse's aide is kind to you, and before you know it, it wasn't what you thought it would be. I mean, it works both ways. Some people think, "Oh my God, how did I end up here?" And other people think, "You know what? This really isn't this bad." Oh man, it's expensive too, Richie. Big time. It's nothing to spend between 6 and 10 grand. No insurance company's paying for that either. It's private pay. But maybe when there's, 50 people just like you and you're all getting together in the morning talking about what a bunch of no good son of a bitches your children were, maybe you change. Yeah, you're right, Brandon. Yep. Yeah, Mike, I don't know if that, you might be right about that. I still think if you piped it in the window, it'd do the trick. I mean, that's burned gas. There's no way around it. I'm not saying they're not more efficient, but I still think you could do it. Oh, you think so, Lynn? Yeah, you don't really, I still say you don't really know what you do till you get in that situation. I mean, it still happens. People still do it accidentally. I mean, you could do it with a space heater in a bathroom. Yeah. Yeah, those hotlines are bullshit. You can tell you're talking to some 20-year-old that doesn't have the faintest clue what severe depression's like. They tell you things like contact your local mental health care facility, and you already did, and they said they're not taking new patients for a year. That's what the 800 line offered me. Yeah, it's bullshit. I mean, maybe if you're in the eighth grade, it works, and they play Mr. Rogers in the background and show you a puppet on a teleconference. But for a seriously depressed adult that knows what the real situation is, I think it's bullshit. Nobody ever thinks you're going to call one. Yeah, right, Frederick. Yeah. You never know. I had a grandfather that lived just a couple weeks of 100, and he smoked since he was 12. My dad was a heavy camel smoker and lived till about 88, never had COPD. Yeah, Kevorkian, yeah. Well, you would have thought after Kevorkian, I mean, things did improve, but I'm still surprised that if you look at states like Vermont and Oregon, or Europe, as a matter of fact, you can go over there with $25,000 in Europe and say, hey, you know what? I'm tired of this bullshit. I don't have a terminal disease. Here's my 25 grand. Let's go with lights out. You can't do that in the United States. You have to be terminal. Yeah, that's the thing. They'll turn you into a criminal if it isn't available, Richie. You're right. Yeah, good genes help. That's for sure. Yeah, that's a hell of a business. They were lining up there, Richie. All right, Okie. Hope you feel okay. Thanks. They do, but you have to be terminal. You have to be terminal. We're in Holland and in Denmark, I think, that you don't. Yeah, they say it's selfish, but Richie, I never agreed with that. I mean, you as an individual, you trying to tell me it isn't up to you to live or die, and that it's basically other people that are going to miss you. I always call bullshit on that. You got whatever problems you had that you think that you don't want to live anymore, and you're going to stay alive for other people. I just don't agree with that. Yeah, Daisy's, yeah, she loves riding around, that's for sure. Somebody who's miserable in hell, they don't cope very well. And the the relatives are saying, "Will stay alive for me." That's the selfish side of it. It's not the person. It's the selfish side on the relatives, if you ask me. Right. Yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't say it saddens me. I mean, it's the end of the road. I mean, it's a consequence of life. It doesn't need to be bad and sad. Yeah, it's true, man. It really is. Talks cheap. I know two people. One was a real hard ass guy. His son got killed in a motorcycle when I was a junior in high school, and he eventually got lung cancer. I came up from Florida to try to help him, and we weren't getting along at the time. And toward the end, as much as he wanted to kill himself, he just couldn't do it. Ended up getting hospice and liking it, and eventually dying. That's right, Richie. Yeah. Yeah, that's true, Landon. I mean, you know, it's. I mean, I don't worry about if you got whatever a physical or a mental problem. That's an individual concept. When you start thinking out of the realm of your own psyche and staying alive for people other than yourself, I think that is really screwed up. It's one thing if you're a 30-year-old mother and you've got two kids that you brought into this world and they need rearing, and I'm talking about later on. I mean, if I was 70 years old, my 80-year-old sister thought it was selfish that I didn't want to live anymore, I think I want to take a baseball bat to her because it's not her business. Yeah, I think so too, Richie. Yeah. I'd like to believe that I'd be getting fanned with a bunch of Playboy bunnies, getting fed grapes and fine wine, but I think you're right. Nobody's gotten back with us so far. I hope I don't, I hope I can escape a funeral and a burial. I wish they'd just grind me up and make fish food out of me or something. Anything but have what's left get scammed out of 20 grand, taking a brand new wood casket and putting it in the ground. Yeah, you don't know what it's like. Yeah. You take anything from the insect all the way up to a full blown mammal, and everything fights its ass off to stay alive naturally. Whether it's a flea or a horsefly or a cockroach or an eagle or an elephant, when their life's coming down to ending, they do whatever they can to try and keep it from happening. And it's natural. Nothing just submits and says, take me. Yeah, you do. You start thinking differently as you get old, then. I mean, I've been writing the obituaries for about 5 years now. I could never figure out why my parents were wasting time looking through them. Yeah, that's it, Larry. Yeah, yep. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, you're right. Well, yeah, the life and the variations of it, you know. Hey, Audrey, how you doing? No, if you read the title, I put in there, it's a re-upload link. No, there, none of the interviews that I'm doing where you see me talking to people, I'm there videotaping them. They're all re-uploads. Yeah, you're young. Yeah, when you're your age, Davey, death is kind of like an abstract thought. It's because you have expectations at your age. You have an expectation of living a full life like your father. Crazy people everywhere, Brandon. Yeah, it sucks, Lynn. I had to put 3 dogs down in 1 month a while back. No, I know, Lynn. Yeah, I get it. I know what you mean. Hopefully, you didn't get taken to the cleaners with vet bills. I think we're at a tremendous advantage by being able to end the life of a pet without suffering. You couldn't do that to a sister or a brother, Lynn, but you could do it to your pet. It's like the ultimate love to end their suffering. But you couldn't do that with a human being, which to me is just odd. Oh yeah, yeah. Hopefully you'll outgrow that, baby. You'll get on to and live a fulfilled life. Yeah, it sucks. Yeah, I did that. Yeah, it sucks. Yep. You know a thing too, Davey, and I'm not saying this in a negative way. It's just what I perceive, and that is that I think that if you'd have been born 50 years ago, you wouldn't have been allowed to be this way. As crazy as it sounds, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with you and that you won't do well, but it was almost like 50 years ago. If you had anxiety, too bad. I mean, it forced people, me included, with depression. You didn't have time to be depressed and anxiety ridden 50 years ago. So weird the way things have changed. It was just like ADD and all those things. That's a tool rental place. They rent tools, power tools and stuff like that. With a blinking light, you mean? Yeah, that's what it is. That's in a little strip mall. Yeah, no, we didn't, Lynn. No. On the other hand, the plus side is, can you think of all the kids that were molested 50 years ago that never said anything? So I mean, there's good and bad is how society's evolved. Yeah, all that stuff. Attention deficit disorder. I mean, my school teachers would have came up to me and said, "Hey, you may be depressed, but you either get that damn homework in uh, next week, or you're going to be repeating the eighth grade again." Now it's like they come out with the damn kid gloves and a psychiatrist and some medication, and putting me behind a ear would stifle me and cause me to do undue emotional pain. Blah blah blah. It's just so different. It was same with getting swats. You screwed up when I was a kid. You get your ass beat with those swats by the teachers, and that was a hell of a motivator. Pain seemed to work back then. You hit a kid with a paddle now, you'll be lucky if you don't go to prison as a school teacher. That's truly, yeah. Oh yeah, big time. Especially in those Catholic schools, those nuns. You were women inspired by God to beat your damn ass. Yeah, it's just so different, you know? That's also the reason why all sorts of kids got molested by priests, because there was nobody to tell about it. And if you did, nobody wanted to hear it. Oh, wow, Davey. Hey, Beeble. Oh, no kidding, Greg. Yeah. Huh. You know, I still tried unblocking people and it doesn't work. I don't know what the deal is with that. It almost seems like that part of YouTube has a virus. Before we used to be able to go in there, click them off, you know. Then they came out with an X where you could get rid of all of them at once. But when you click them off, it like hesitates and then they pop back up. And then if you click them off again and you hit save, they pop back up again. And then you will finally get an error notice. Sorry, this is taking so long. Your changes were unsaved. Please come back in 5 seconds. So there's a big glitch going on with YouTube. Yeah, kind of weird. Well, I think I'm going to sign off here, you guys. I'll be on the night, though. If you feel like talking around 9 o'clock, that'd be all right. Hopefully, I'll have some news of the girls down there. And yeah, no, you're right, Richie. I thought of that. I really don't buy into that kind of bullshit very much. I mean, YouTube, they want the more controversy, the better. So inherently, I would say no, but you never know. Oh, yeah, you'll get a kick out of that when I unblock everybody. I've got like 8,700 people blocked. You know, that's the whole gambit: chats, shitty comments, stalkers, weirdos. Yeah, you guys have a good day today. I'll try to get some more info on what's going on down there. And remember, any emails, or not emails, any videos I upload where they're in person, they're old. I'm putting it in the title. I'm not looking for double clicks. See, Brandon and Davey are about ready to hold hands now. See how far you two have come from an hour ago? Yeah, that's a good point, Lee. Yeah, I didn't like school either. I've been a shitty student my whole life. Still am. I've had 55 years of telling them to shove it. I couldn't be happier. All right, Heather, you too. Yep, you have a good day. All right, Richie, see you tonight, hopefully. Brandon, you too. You guys can be pen pals now. Good job at making up. Great job. All right, you guys, take care. Yep, see you later. All right, Crossan. Yep, you too. Yep. Hey, sexy. Just signing off now, but try and make it on at 9 o'clock tonight, okay? Yeah. Yeah, I hope you're doing well, hanging in there. I'm gonna get some more info on the girls, see how they're doing. Yeah, get on at 9 tonight if you can. Appreciate it. Hope you're hanging in there all right. Have a good day, you guys. See you, Richie. All right, Dave.